Hi, I'm Sharon Bill. Welcome to my Theory Tuition series where I'm working with you step by step through each of the ABRSM theory grades. Once you've completed your Grade 5 Music Theory and Practice workbook, past papers are an excellent revision resource, and I've worked with you from 2014 right the way through to 2018 past papers, and now I'm really thrilled to be able to bring to you 2019 past papers. I've loads of resources available to help you on my website. If you visit sharonbill.com, you'll find some free PDF information sheets which are available in US letter or A4, and you can download these to accompany each step of this series. You'll find a page there with links to all of my YouTube video tutorials, and you can also find out about the books that I have available. I've written an exam technique guide, how to take your ABRSM Music Theory Exam. It's full of tips and hints on how to make the best use of your time on exam day. So if you go to sharonbill.com, you can find it all there. If you can give me a like, that would be really super, and please do subscribe and share out the videos. And now we're going to continue with Grade 5 2019 Practice Paper A, and we're going to start looking at question 4. So if you turn with me to page 6 in your past paper booklet, we can have a look at this next question together. So we are referring to this little extract of music here, and then we'll be answering questions underneath. Notice they very helpfully tell you, watch out, that the piano part is in the bass clef for both hands throughout, so that's kind of helpful there. Very generous of the ABRSM. And so now we move on to the questions. So question A asks us, underline one word from the list below that has a similar meaning to masig. So here's a good chance to do a little bit of revision on all of these terms, and if you want some revision tips, don't forget that all of your performance directions are going to be everything from grades 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 inclusive. And if you look through all of the PDFs from grade 1 to 5 on my website, you'll find some revision tips, and I also give you some little tests as well to help you to just revise and test yourself. So let's go ahead and give all of these their full definition just so that we can properly make use of this paper to revise thoroughly. So masig is like a moderate tempo, medium, moderate speed. So dolente is sad, or you would say perhaps mournful. Veloce, you must excuse my pronunciation if this is wrong, means swift or fast. So far I don't think any of these will do. Of course, this is a really obvious, once you know this one becomes easy, moderate tempo. I think that's right back from grade 1. And here, incalzando is actually getting faster, increasing speed, you would say. And often, it also means increasing in tone. So now we've done all of that, we can easily answer that moderato, but it's best to squeeze every single drop of revision out of this paper. So let's press on to the next question. So we're asked to rewrite the first right hand piano chord. Don't forget, we're told that's going to be in bass clef as well, so just watch out. It's very helpful, they've just reminded us of that. So we need to rewrite the first right hand piano chord of the extract into the alto or C clef. So that is where middle C is here on this middle line. So we have kind of a double bar line. There's many different ways of drawing this clef. So long as you show that it's centered around that middle line, it will do the job. So let's see what the first right hand piano chord of the extract is. Actually, first of all, we'll get the key signature. We've got a key signature of 2 sharps, so don't forget they need to be placed appropriate to the alto clef. So C, D, E, F sharp and C sharp. And now the first right hand is this. Now don't forget we're in bass clef, so middle C is here. So it's the C, B, A below middle C and then a third below that. So here's middle C, so we have C, B, A, and then we have the third below that. So of course now the stems will go up. There we go, that's that. So just a little bit of general question now on key signatures. We're in D major at the start of this extract. Which other key has the same key signature? Now I do suggest that you always write out your circle of fifths so that you've got all your major and minor keys to hand straight away and you're not scratching your head, getting stressed and thinking about these things. And you can see that D major is related to B minor, so that's that. If you want some help on getting your circle of fifths, so you can write that down quickly and easily, you can have a look at the video that I've done explaining that in full. I'll put you a link in the cards and in the description all about the circle of fifths. So do check that up as a bit of extra revision as well. And now we'll move on. So now we need to write as a breve or a double whole note the N harmonic equivalent of the right hand piano marked in bar 5. So even if you don't play piano, it's really helpful to just visualise the piano keyboard. You can sketch one out quickly on your scrap paper. It doesn't have to be a work of art, and it just helps you to visualise so you're not holding too much information in your head. And so the piano note in bar 5 here, we're in bass clef, so that's a G sharp. And so if we look at the N harmonic equivalent of a G sharp, that would become A flat. So A flat is the equivalent. We've just got to make sure that we get the correct octave. And so this is the G sharp below middle C. So here is middle C, B, there is the A flat. So we have the breve, the double whole note, and then we can pop the flat. And so that will sound the same even though it's written differently. So moving over onto the next page, but we'll still need to keep an eye on this because we're going to be referring to this still. And so we've got to give the letter name of the lowest note in the piano part. So let's have a look. The lowest note in the piano part. So just scanning through. So it's going to be at the bottom of the bottom stave. That looks pretty low. So I would suggest it's this one. And so now we're sort of way down in the depths of the bass clef here. And so there are several ways of working this out. And I think the easiest one in this case, because it's so very low, is to just count up an octave and see where that takes us. So we're counting this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we know that's an A, bass clef, all cows eat grass. And so we know that is also an A, an octave lower. So that nicely answers that. There we go. Now then we need to rewrite the voice part of bar 2, but we need to double the values, and so we're going to have to change this time signature. So let's see what time signature we've got at the moment. We are in 6 beats, 6 quaver beats per bar. It just helps to just map that out. And we're in duple compound. We can't change the musical effect at all. And so in order to double that, what we need to do, we're staying in compound time, 2 groups of 3, but we're going to double those, and so we're going to be counting 2 groups of 3 like that. There are 6 beats per bar, but instead of being quavers or eighth notes, they will become crotchets or quarter notes, and so our time signature is going to be 6/4. So we've kept the musical feel. We're still in compound time. There are still 2 beats per bar, but now everything is doubled in the units that we are counting in. So now all we've got to do is figure out the notes. So let's look at bar 2. So bar 2, the voice part is here. And so we are literally going to be copying this out and doubling everything. So basically you're just losing that top beam, and then this won't be coloured in. That will be a a minim or a half note, and then we lose that beam there. So let's just get the note heads in. So these can stay coloured in, we already know that. However, this one we've worked out, we don't need to colour that one in, and then that one we're okay. So here, that we've lost that beam, that becomes a dotted crotchet, a dotted quarter note. That just has one little beam on it now, so that becomes a quaver or an eighth note. That becomes a crotchet or a quarter note. So this is a minim or a half note, and then this will become a crotchet or a quarter note. So there we go, that's soon done. Once you've done that thinking, this little bit's easy. And carrying on. True or false? Is it true or false that all the notes in the piano part of bar 5 are in the scale of A harmonic minor? Let's have a look at bar 5. We're talking about the piano part in particular. So bar 5, so we've got a key signature of F sharps and C sharps. However, just glancing through, there are no Fs and there are no C sharps. It's cancelled, so that key signature is now gone. So we have nothing but this G sharp, and if you think A minor is related to C major, which has the raised seventh of G sharps, so although that key signature is there, it's not active at all, so the right hand notes that are being played aren't tapping into that at all, and so that is true. It really is A harmonic minor. Now, is it true that the interval between the highest and the lowest notes of the voice part is a perfect octave? So we've got to find the highest and the lowest notes. So let's find. So the lowest note, go a bit lower here. That looks pretty low. So that is the lowest note. What's the highest note? This one here is the highest note. It's just a matter of looking carefully. Let's just check through so you can see with me. Yeah, that's the highest note. So the lowest note is a G sharp, the highest note is an A. Well, that's not an octave of any sort, is it? So that's going to be false. Perfect or otherwise, it's not an octave. There we go. So we've actually already answered this question when we were completing our notes of twice the value. And so we're asked to describe the time signature. Is it simple or is it compound? Well, we can see that it's compound because it's divided into groups of 3. We've got dotted crotchet beats divided into groups of 3. So it's definitely compound, and we've already discovered that there are 2 groups of 3. Really, you wouldn't have been able to answer the previous question correctly if you hadn't already addressed this. So we know that it's compound, time, and there are 2 beats per bar, and so it's duple. There we go. And so now just a little bit of general knowledge, looking at the music in a more general sense. Underline the voice part from the list below that is in the range above the bass. The next range above the bass, well, that's a high. So that's a middle sort of like treble voice. So it's between these two. Now the tenor is the high and the baritone is between the two. And if you go to the PDFs, I think it's first addressed in grade 4. I've given you some information on all the voice parts. So this is drawing on some information that you first covered in grade 4. And if you want to look on the PDF document, you'll find some information explaining this further. And also, that's where you first cover these orchestral questions. And so we're asked to name a standard orchestral instrument that might be played sol G. Well, you need to know what sol G is. Sol G means on the G string, and so therefore it must be a string family member. And so we could have a various selection, anything from the string family really. We could have the violin, the viola, the cello or the double bass. That's kind of the whole family really. Any one of those will do, so long as it's a string instrument, because that's definitely a string related sentence. Now then, depending which instrument you've chosen depends upon whether it's a transposing or non-transposing instrument. The only one that's transposing is the double bass. So if you chose double bass, you would have to say it was a transposing instrument, because actually the double bass sounds an octave lower than it's written. When it plays, it sounds an octave lower. All of the others are non-transposing. And that's the end of that question. I do hope that's helpful to you. I hope it's helping you with your studies. If you can give me a like, that would be really, really super. And please do subscribe to keep updated. And please do share out the videos. Please do visit sharonbill.com and make use of all of the resource and information that's available there to help you. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.